Yep, recording now.
Is there any new people that are here? Can you scan the square?
Anybody want to wave their hands if they are new? I don't
Hello,
think so.
hello.
Oh, Mary Jane is saying hello. Paul, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay. So, yeah, Mary Jane is new.
Oh, Mary Jane is new.
Semi-new.
Semi-new.
Nice to meet you, Mary Jane.
Nice to
Kenneth. Oh, Jeff from Southern California. Nice to see you. Joe from the Bronx. Thomas Turner. Mary Jane. I see Mary Jane. I don't see her. She has a illustration. Art. Nice to see you, Art. Sina, Nancy, Mike, Jack G, Sharon. Yeah, well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a little cold here in Northern California, relatively. Uh, let's see, the idea of non-duality. We should have there would be the invitation of non-duality, and then it would have a complementary book called the Book of Warnings. Yeah, the Book of Warnings, which is actually more valuable than the message, because the message is really totally unnecessary. you are that, but the warnings are quite helpful. And so, just to break it down simply, the assumption of non-duality, other than its direction, which is negating duality, the assumption of non-duality is we are what we're looking for. Uh, the what's looking is what we're looking for. The seeker is the sought. The Buddha, we are the Buddha. So therefore, using the Buddha to seek the Buddha won't go anywhere. It's all premised on this idea that we are already and forever and has always been that which we are. Then there's a switch, and then the activity of non-duality is an understanding, experiencing, studying, reflecting on duality, and to come to a conclusion. We're not of duality. We're of whatever, but we're not of duality. And so, but that which duality appears to be has a main fixture in it, which is this sense of being a subject, but pictured as an object. So that's called dualism. The subjectivity is interpreted as an attribute the object has. Yeah. So that's when we're using the Buddha to seek the Buddha. So the object called Paul, which is really a mental idea, that mental idea assumes it's something, and therefore can be involved in using the Buddha to seek the Buddha. It doesn't realize it's the Buddha, it's calling itself Paul. So it doesn't see that message. You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. It's translated into Paul is going to use Buddhism to acquire attributes it thinks the Buddha had. That's how it goes. So basically, if this was Buddhism, or if this was like a process or a path, then Buddha in that process or the path would be a goal. But because we are that, we are the imaginary goal already, therefore the way of Buddhism may not work, because it may be reinforcing the Paul who wants to become a Buddhist. So the whole point is to talk about what we're not with the hopes that we see it from what we are. Yeah. To understand what we're not, we have experiences of it all day, to understand it, to study it if you want, and just to recognize that you're not this subject hybrid, subject object hybrid. I don't know what you are. I don't really care, because I think it's more fun to find out what you are than to try to fit what you are into some conceptual idea. I'd much rather just be sort of naked on that level to find out what I am. What I'm interested in is the seeing what I'm not, because the seeing what I'm not is really the greatest influence in the dreaming. And therefore, the lion doesn't get the message it's a lion because it's heard by the sheep programming that the lion is living under. Now, the lion is taking itself to be a sheep. So when it hears the message, you're a lion, some of it gets through and there's a resonance or you feel an aha, but it's quickly muted, and it's turned into the sheep heard it, and now the sheep translates it into I can become like a lion. That's not the message. Yeah. And so this is the frustration, because every movement in that condition adds distance, in a sense, to what we already are. So basically, any movement or acting to arrive there is a denial that you are there. So while you're trying to move and arrive at that noble goal, you don't know that that movement, with the idea of you doing it, is reinforcing the idea that you're of what you're not. Yeah. So how are you going to get out of it when you're in it? That's the conclusion we have to come to, is to see, Jesus, I can't get out of this freaking thing. Yeah. And that's the beautiful news, because maybe a new possibility shows up, which is maybe I'm not in what I believe I'm in. Just maybe. Let's check it out. So if I'm not in there, why would I try to get out? And the getting out of it in this situation is actually reinforcing the reality of in. So my wanting to get out of the in I think I'm in reinforces the in. It doesn't lead me to out. So maybe let's not start there. Let's not start at the in and then want to get out. Let's question, who is it that's in? If that which is in isn't you, then there'll be a loss of interest in that, and therefore there'll be a loss of interest in getting out, and you'll be in the out that's before the in. Yeah, it's not a getting out, it's an out always available at all times. So in our way, it doesn't even seem like an out, because the only way we can compare an out is with an in, and an in with an out. The out of all outs, let's say, doesn't have a component of in and out. Therefore, it goes unnoticed in a way. But if you keep landing there, and every time you land there, it tells you you never left, then you now start having eyes to see, not the mental eyes, the eyes to see that which is always here. You don't see it as an object to another object, you intimate it. Yeah. And now you get the magical logic that works. You can't get out of an imaginary place, far out. Yeah. You can't get out of self as self. Why is that? Because you're not in self. That's why. It's not like a punishment or a failure. It's just a fact that's being announced or suggested. Self can't get out of self. Yeah. It's just a fact. So when you fit yourselves around these facts, a lot gets revealed. And there's a loss of interest in more revealings. You don't care anymore, in a way. I don't know how else to put it. I think that's the best approach. It's not like, in the army, at attention and then at ease. It's more like no at attention, just at ease. Yeah. And whatever's going to be revealed will be revealed. And it's more like a need to know situation. And basically, if that which is never appearing to be different is the main preoccupation, let's say you're rooted there, then you lose interest in all the comparing of this and that and thinking this and on and on. It doesn't mean that activity doesn't go on, but it means there's a loss of interest in it. Yeah. So that which you hear. That which you used to listen to, you don't listen to, really. The hearing is the same. What changes is the listening. Yeah. The hearing is the same. We're awake, so we're going to hear what arises. We're going to notice what arises. But the listening, the concentrating, the focus, all that gets dispersed. Yeah. So the first movement of the mental state, and what we're sharing is that there's the idea of being a someone is a mental activity. It's reinforced by mental processes. It's basically engaged with itself all day. So in memory, you're pictured as a body. When the memory of you as a body is projected and is worrying about that object in the future, that's a body. It's another form of remembering yourself now as a body. When you remember yourself in the past and you're worrying about yourself in the future, they're both an act of remembering you as a body now. Yeah. The mental state is very fast. Whatever we bring it into contact with, let's say whatever consciousness brings it into contact with, it will arise and claim that activity to imply something. So running is claimed to imply the runner. Running implies a runner. And so after a while, there's no need for the running to feel like you're a runner. Now you have a historical story that you're a runner. You did a lot of running, you're still running every day, and you hope you'll be running in the future. So now, without running, there's still a sense of being the runner. So now you've been habitually put in that identification. But what happens is the running is claimed to imply the runner. Yeah. Or let's say more easily, seeing is claimed to imply the seer. And what reinforces the seer is the seen all day. Yeah. What reinforces the hearer is what's ever heard all day. What reinforces the feeler is what's ever felt all day. All the feelings, all the seeings, all the hearings, all the doings, all the thinkings are used to imply the thinker, yeah, the feeler, the seer, the taster, and the smeller. So basically, the seeing, it's not like a denial. There's a lack of interest in the seeing, and there's a lot of interest in the seer and the seen. Yeah, which, if seeing is the basis of life, if that's life is happening, then life is happening to me as the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher, would be an interpretation, obviously. So the living would be the seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, thinking, da 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 da. An interpretation would be seer, seen, hearer, heard, feeler, felt. So most of us are paying a lot of attention. It isn't us. There's attention on the narrative or the interpretation, and the interpretation is subject objectness. Yes? So the verbing of seeing infers that there's a subject, which is Paul, and there's the object with Paul, which Paul is seeing, which is the seeing. So there you go. So non-duality is a negation of that. Non-duality is the negation of the seer seen, the hearer heard, the feeler felt, the smeller smelt, the thinker thought, all this. It's a negation of that. It's saying that's not so. It's happening, but what it's implying isn't. Yeah. This is the beauty of the message. There's nothing needed to be added or subtracted. It's all based on seeing. Let's say seeing of awareness. Yeah. So when you recognize the fundamental diagram of subject objectness, of dualism and duality, of time, of things coming and seeming so real and disappearing as if they never existed, you may get a sense of this place as dreaming in a way. And what's happening, we're dreaming in a dualistic manner. Yeah. Does anything need to be changed? No. Does anything need to be seen? Yes. Yeah. So we see it, and hopefully we see it from what we are, which is all, that's where all the seeing is coming from. But the seeing is captured so quickly and turned into you looking that there, you could almost feel it in two different ways. I would call it, the seeing is looking from what you're not, from what you are, seeing from what you are, and then the looking is seeing from what you're not. Seeing from what you're not is a form of looking. Seeing from what you are is seeing. So instead of hearing the message from what's looking, you know, from the you that's looking, and now it starts looking for what it is, all the while being what it is, you see all that from what you are. Yeah. And now the horse is in front of the cart, and see what shakes out or not. Yeah. And if you need any support, that's not you. Just come here if you like, and we'll sit around and, you know. All right, that's it. Eh?
Okay, anybody want to raise their hand? Art.
All right.
Hey, Paul.
All right.
Hey, can you
Yes.
go? You've talked before about the body going through some pretty heavy shit, right? And there's been some things that have happened with the body, with the action figure Paul, since, you know, in the past 20, 30 years, I think. And I'm wondering how this, if there's a different response, if there's a different response of the body, of the mind, you know, than there was previously.
Yes, for sure. That's probably later. Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, just full disclosure, my body's going through some real hellish stuff at the moment. And there is a traveling lighter.
Body. It's the body.
Yes, the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and there is a traveling lighter. You know, there is a, okay, maybe the body might die. I mean, probably not. But there's some real things to deal with at the moment with this body. And yeah, I guess I was just wondering if you had anything you could speak to on that from your experience with that body.
Again, all I can speak about is if you hear this message, there is going to be a shifting of attention and interest. Yeah. And the body condition has an inordinate amount of interest and attention when it's presented as you. It's almost like a magnet to interest and attention, especially with physical pain. Yeah. There's a very, the attraction is very, very strong. Yeah. The interest and attention is a lot more directed towards the body when you call it yours. Yeah. When there's an actor being identified as the body, that's going to increase the heaviness in your traveling, so to speak. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this isn't sort of like non-duality isn't like pulling a fire alarm, you know? Non-duality is entertaining. And then when you go through situations in life, you observe that you traveled lighter through them. And it was very clear that you had nothing to do with it. Yeah. Because when you tried to travel lighter in the past, it got heavier and heavier. So it's sort of like when you see doing without the doer, it's a quite relief. Well, this is sort of seeing it on a larger scale where you see that, hey, you've had different incidents in memory in your past, and then suddenly you're traveling a whole lot lighter through shit without being like a grand master of traveling lighter or a ninja or a fucking, it's just your observation. So something must have changed. Yeah. Because things are different. And so usually what changed gets revealed to you. It's almost like reverse engineering. So the funny thing is, the voice in one's head has a huge dilemma. It has no power. Yeah. It talks up a big game, but when push comes to shove, it can't change anything. It's basically like, I don't want to die, but you're going to die anyway. You know what I mean? It doesn't have any ability to change fucking anything. Yeah. So so if you try to lose interest in that voice when the shit hits the fan, it probably won't work. You lose interest now, yeah, and then when the shit hits the fan, you see, yeah. You can't use this as like a get out of jail free card. It doesn't work. What happens is you've realized there's no one that goes to jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you end up in jail, yeah, you've got the get out of jail free card. But you didn't even get it at that moment. It was there already. Yeah.
And if the house is on fire, there's still a bucket of water is needed.
Yes, get the water. Yeah, and then put out the fire, and then someone maybe will sit with you and say, hey, you seem to be at a lot of fires, and maybe you get to see your role in things. Maybe you see you're the fire starter, and then that leads to realizing you're not that. And then the fires start dropping. The the frequency of the fires start dropping. Yeah? Because something has fundamentally changed. The fundamental changes aren't on the outside. They're here, yeah? What initiates big changes is here, not out there.
Yeah.
So we bring relief to the situation. We don't find relief in the situation. We bring relief to the situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like a lot of people, we used to have a little statement, the hallway of shit and fans. Yeah. So a lot of people find themselves in the hallway shitting fans. So they figure they have no idea they're rolling things. So they try to get skillful means to duck the shit. You know what I mean? Not let the fan go on too high and try to make it through the gauntlet. Yeah. But the whole point you'll realize is what turns the shit and the fan on is us. Yeah. It's just a hallway. As soon as we enter, it becomes the hallway of shit and fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of like the hamster wheel. The hamster wants to get off the wheel as if the wheel's doing it. It's the hamster that's moving the wheel. Yeah. The hamster says, I can't wait to get out of this wheel. Well, the wheel isn't wheeling without the hamster, yeah?
Yeah.
So this message is allowing not the external deck to be shuffled, let's say the internal deck to be shuffled, yeah? Yeah?
Yeah.
And then the hand that's being played here sees itself out here, yes? The winning hand isn't outside, it's here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You've lost interest in that which blows the fire. Yes? You lost interest in that which sets off the shit and fan in the hallway.
Hey, Paul. I get it, Paul. I get it.
Yeah. Yes. And then
I
this
get
is what you find out. There's a loss of interest in this mental idea, and then you see its effects because you can observe shit out here, right? We're not 2 levels below a coconut. There's sentience. I can observe, Jesus Christ, things are working out with very little to do with me. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul, I can sense it. I guess I just wanted to bring it up, see what you had to say about it, but I get it. That,
And if
like
you
I said,
have difficulty with body experiences, then stay after the meeting. And there's a lot of people who have gone through that already. Yeah. Sometimes, and I hate to say this because then people think this is a requirement. There's no requirement. But sometimes the action figure will have to come under review, sort of like it's been running on 110 and all its wiring is to conduct 110, and suddenly the electrical grid is shifted to 220. Yeah. So now it's going to have a little rough time getting used to the new voltage. Yeah.
okay.
Moving through. Yeah.
I definitely feel fried.
A lot of people go through physical changes after hearing a message. They do.
Well,
Yeah, so there's tons of experience probably after the meeting, and because sometimes the head is very afraid because it's afraid of not knowing, yeah, and it's always thinking it's going to die, but then when it really gets into that mortal terror, it's like a whimpering little baby. Because the emperor has no clothes. It has no sway. Yeah.
yeah.
It can't change how the wind is blowing. Yeah. So
I love that.
just hang out. Fellowship is helpful. Yeah.
I'll stick around and say hi. Yeah.
Yeah. I won't be there, but
Yeah. Word. Are you here now, Paul? All right, thanks, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Art. Robert. So,
Yeah, hi,
Robert.
Paul. Hi,
Hey,
Paul.
Robert.
I just want to share a little experience I had a couple of days ago. I was driving my car and just the sense of self or sense of a body wasn't there. And it was just this beautiful, clear awareness. It was effortless and maybe lasted for about 30 seconds. Then I was back to Robert driving the car. But what came out of it for me was Robert could have no understanding of what happened. So I couldn't really claim it. It was just, and for that reason, when it was over, it was like, did that really happen? Sort of didn't go into the memory. I just couldn't understand it.
Yeah,
So that's all.
that's great. Yeah.
But,
Once
driving.
once the head says it understands something, it makes it something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, driving was.
30 seconds in the dreaming, it appears to be 30 seconds. That's eternity. That
Yeah.
little, what you call a 30-second period, was eternity.
Yeah.
It was. It is. Yeah. See, we have it. There's such a preponderance of belief in the dreaming of time that sometime when the infinite is there, we think it was a very short period. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Driving was happening, but there was no sense of a body or anything like that. But
Yeah.
and it was effortless. It was probably the word that came out as it was clean and pristine. The awareness,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. But then the following day, I was driving and I ran up the back of another car. Robert
no
did.
way.
Yeah. And it was still pristine and beautiful and clear.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It didn't really affect me. It was just, we swapped information and that was it.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Didn't worry me.
Thinking is a very thinking doesn't land anywhere. It's always about things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking. It's a very, like if it was a game of darts, it would be missing the board the whole time. Yeah. It never gets to the root of the matter. It's just thinking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel so assured, but it's very vague. It's not, yeah.
Yeah. I like what you said to Art about it being powerless. It's got no power whatsoever. The mental activity. I find that.
I know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Its house of cards could get blown over by a little, parking ticket. It doesn't take much.
What do they say? A pubic hair could tow an ocean liner. Same sort of.
Now, if it was a friend, would you want to have it when you were going to die, it would have jumped ship days ago.
Yeah, yeah.
It's yeah. All right, Rob. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Robert. Mary. Hey, Mary.
Hi, Mike. Thanks. Hi, Paul.
Who's this? Mary Graydon?
Mary Graydon. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Mary. How are you?
Hey, good. Good to see you. Hey, I just again want to thank you so much from the bottom of my heart that, I know you're selling the same cod every time, but just something about that repetition. Anyway, like my experience lately, it was just this moment. And honest to God, I've been, like so many of us here, probably been doing this freaking seeking with, I thought so sincerely, and I think was sincerely for so long, and feeling so stuck and terrible. And it was just this instant of like, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like this voice that's me just isn't me. Like that's all I could say. It's like, what? Is that possible? And it's like shit. And then all these downloads, like it's like, the Course says God is the light in which I see. It was like, and of course I'm still, whatever, but just beautiful. What a moment. Like, my God, and I'm so grateful to you. Like, if I kick the bucket tomorrow, it's okay. I'll be scared or, but that was just, I can't believe it.
Great.
That clarity, like that moment of, is that truly possible that it's not me that's talking like me?
Yeah. Good, hon. That's great.
Yeah, it is. But the other question I have.
How many of us expect the shit so much? Yeah. That expectation will be moved to just having an assurance, yeah, of that recognition of that which was taken to be me is an activity. Yeah, it's an activity. See, if you were in the process of becoming self, yeah, you could probably sign off if it wasn't going well. Yeah, you say, oh, I want to negate this contract. I don't like this becoming self. But the trip with the head is, it assumes you already are something you never were. Yeah, you have to get the feeling of time. It assumes you already are something. You were something, you're gonna be something, therefore you are something. It's not becoming a self, it's assuming you already are one. Now you're engaged mostly in trying to get out of it, really. That's what most people are doing. They're wanting to get out of what they think they're in, seriously. Because they're not seemingly in the moment, they're in the cloud of thoughts about the moment, which is yesterday and tomorrow. So now, most of our drive, when you hit a certain age, is to try to get out of something. Yeah. So there's an assumption, there's an in. This is what's manufactured by the selfing. The selfing manufactures the product it makes, says it's a historical product. That's what it does. It's mind-boggling. So it's not like you're becoming a self. You are one already, and you don't like it. Yeah, or you should be better, or you've done terrible things. So basically, there's just a direction and a drive to get out of self. To the point, the Buddha will be using the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Yeah. The point where we'll run into we've experienced it tons of times. Self can't get out of self, yet it just backs up and tries another vehicle. You're not going to break the programming because you can't stop what it's already saying you already are. You're not becoming self. There's no self to become. It's manufactured as being so. And everything else is ringing that bell of so-ness. Everything. Yeah? All the seeking, this and that, every movement this way is ringing the imaginary fucking bell as if it's Notre Dame's cathedral's bell. Yeah? We don't see the quality of time in the dreaming. The selfing implies you already are a self. The selfing is happening now and implies we are a historical self. And that's all we need to have our direction set of wanting to either suddenly get out of it, yeah, or really crudely get out of it. Yeah. Spirituality is a function of that. Drug addiction is a function of that. Yeah. No one wants to see, it wants to keep you, every time you go back, you run into that historical you. What's before that is what we are. Yeah. And when you see the selfing from what you are, you don't see, there's no product made. Yeah. You're not made, you're suggested, you're implied, you're assumed, you're insinuated. Yeah. Typical people hear the idea of selfing, they get in touch with me and they say, "Oh, Paul, I've been selfing all day." Yeah. That's the remembering of the historical self. The historical self now claims to be the doer of the selfing. Yeah. Another person calls me up. Jesus Christ, the selfing is driving me crazy. So now, yes, the historical self is being driven crazy by this contemporary verb called selfing. You see it? It's made up, both.
The awareness seems really subtle, like so subtle it can't even, like, yeah.
It's not subtle. After you see it, it'll be obvious. You just need a suggestion. You just need the possibility. You just need a message. Then you start looking at what's going on, and the looking doesn't even start. The assumption's placed as a fact, and then you believe you are looking. That looking very rarely is never turned to that. All you do is looking from self, not looking at it, because there isn't one. Yeah. If you're looking at selfing, there is no self. That's all you can see now is selfing. Where is the self? Where? You look in a mirror and you think that signifies the self, the body. Yeah. But the mental state hates being a body most of the time, but it needs it for its little storyline. Yeah. All you see is selfing. That's all. That's what's happening now. No self, no doer. All you see is doing, feeling, tasting, touching, smelling, thinking, everything with ing. Yeah, that's really true. What's made up by the claiming of all that is what we're usually left with. Yeah, we're in an interpretive narration. Yeah, and we can't. The only way we can look at it is, I want to get out of what I'm in. We very rarely question, am I really in? It's immediately, teach me skillful means to get out of me. Get out of me, get out of me, get out of me. But before it, there's no in. There's no you to be in that you so dearly want to get out of. Yeah? There isn't. There's selfing that's implying there is, insinuating there is, but there's nothing, you don't see anything. Yeah? All you get, the basic content text you feel is that you're really seeing your awareness. Yeah? And you're becoming more and more aware of stuff. There's not more and more awareness. There's more, you're becoming more and more aware. Yeah? Because now your historical date isn't I was, I will be, therefore I am. It's now. You're an activity of seeing, you're living, feeling, tasting, touching, smelling. Yes? Whole different way to live a life. As the primary point. And then the narration is secondary. Not the narration, the primary point. If the narration is a primary point, it's captured by the statement self-centeredness. The whole interpretation is centered on self, on you as being the doer, the feeler, the thinker, the seer, the hearer, the taster, and that's not true. Yeah. So Huang Po says it beautifully. Whatever can be perceived, which is bodies, let's say, cannot be perceiving. So basically he says he just took the rug out from underneath the narrative all day, because the narration in one's head is you think you're the subject, but you picture yourself as an object. Yes? He just says that's not true. What's perceiving, which is subjectness, can't be an object. The object isn't what's perceiving. Yes? That's not going to page 84 of the narration. It goes right to the basis of it. The whole thing we're listening to all day is that you're the seer as a body. Yes or no? Don't you feel that if you saw through that, it would change every fucking thing else? Mm-hmm. Instead of trying to change everything else to affect that, see that and things will change. That's how you know you're onto something. It's sort of like a whole knot of, there's a rope with tons of knots, and you try to change the knot of relationship and physical health and financial insecurity. And yet, once you work on one knot, it doesn't really affect the other knots that well. And they tend to go knotted again. But what would happen if you found, let's say, the initial knot, and then you loosen that, and the thread from that goes to everything else, and you feel the effects in all aspects of your life in a way. Yeah? You'll be traveling lighter through finances, through emotion, through fucking actions and shit like that. You're onto something. Yeah? You don't have to bring in an expert to tell you you're onto something. You know it in your gut. It's obvious. Yeah? It's so obvious it can become the last answer. Yeah? The last answer, which negates the need to have any other answers concerning life and what's going on here. It becomes the last answer. What a great answer. Yeah? So what do? I don't know. Come to 4 Zooms a week and share. Yeah? Not about what it's like, what that's like, but about what's this like, so that we can see this from that instead of looking for that from this. Yeah? All right. Thanks, Mayor.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, and I appreciate the use of the word subtlety, like that, our ability to be able to use language in two directions. So that subtlety it sounds like to me is like the reference of the meek shall inherit the earth. The meek are actually not the meek, except in the more common worldly concept. So, yeah, so I like that word subtle. Thank you. Anybody else want to raise their hand?
No stripping, Paul.
Everyone is quiet. Great. Oh, there's John. Johnny from Novato. No more questions?
No
Hey,
hands.
Bram, nice to see you. You're out of the shower scene. Yeah, it's good. Got it cleared up. The lens is working.
I splurged and got the screen replaced yesterday.
Eh?
I splurged and got the screen replaced yesterday.
Oh, great, great,
A
great.
whole $20 in India, but it took a year.
Well, it's already made. It's already worth it. Yeah.
It is.
There you go. All right, let's. No one else. All right. Well, we'll say good night, eh? Mike.
Sorry, I
Mike?
was muted. No, Clifford has his hand up.
Oh, all right, Clifford.
Yes.
Joyce is trying to.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the last time it didn't work well.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
no.
Again?
It's the same thing.
But, yeah. What'd you do last time? Do it again.
I can't hear.
A little uncovered.
What is it your headphones? If you take the headphones out, will it work? No.
Oh, Clifford. Maybe the ears.
Can you hear us, Clifford?
Oh yeah. Do you hear us, Clifford?
Great.
Yeah.
3 syllables.
Clifford
Very
gets
subtle.
quoted again.
The most subtle question.
Hello.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we heard you.
We hear you, Clifford. Whatever you did worked.
Hello.
Hello.
We got you. We got you.
Am I on?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh, mercy. me. I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah. Hi, Paul. Hi, everyone. You know, often you mention the unspoken yes. And recently I had a big kind of unspoken no.
They're the same.
It was exactly the same. And I stopped for a coffee and they give you a cup and put a lid on it. And there's this little stirrer they put in. And it looks like a stirrer, but it actually doubles up as a straw. And they put a different one in, and I went to suck on this straw that wasn't a straw. And it took me about 4 or 5 seconds to realize, it's not the fucking thing. And this distinct voice in my head, that only I could hear, remember, I'm always curious about that voice. But it went, "You fucking idiot." And normally I have to clumsily unpack that, say like, "It's not me." And it reminded me of when I first got clean and I had to clumsily unpack getting clean. It felt a bit manufactured. It felt inauthentic. It felt like the authentic me should use. But what happened is it went, "You fucking idiot." And there was like a carrier frequency that just said, "Nope, not in a voice." I didn't have to clumsily unpack it. There was just a knowing that it wasn't me. Then it was interesting, and I started laughing because I then tried to claim or it tried to claim the knowing. I even envisaged, I'll tell Paul about this.
Yeah.
That's what it said. But the actual event, although not Hollywood in its, I didn't meet a lovely girl and win some money and find my dream job. It actually felt, I don't think the word is big, but it just felt clear, like unopposed. There you go. That's my coffee unspoken no.
Oh, great. The thing is, that knowledge has always been there. Yeah. Now the intention has moved so that you can have an experience of it. Yeah. Yeah. You can be let in on the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. More gets revealed. Yeah. Yeah. That's sometimes I don't know. Some people sometimes they come here, but they're begrudgingly surprised when they find that it actually works.
Yeah.
But why would I? I'm just sharing what I saw. Yeah, you're gonna see the same thing. Yeah, yeah, because we're all looking from the same place. We really are. This isn't. It's just the interpretation of it will be different. That's the unique art that the brush of Clifford and the brush of Paul will move the paint differently, but it's the same paint. Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is, in a way, something changes, and then let's say if you have a seat assignment, the changes trigger a reverse engineering, and then there's a recognition of what was there previous to that which is always here. You know what I mean? Because the change always tells you about that which has always been here, but in a weird way it feels like it's different. Yeah. So there's a reverse engineering about the dreaming, so you start learning about the dreaming. Yeah. When I wouldn't say being awake from the dreaming, you're awake in the dreaming. Yeah. There's no from the dreaming. This is happening, yeah? But you're awake in the dreaming. And now you start seeing, instead of just looking at the surface bubbles, you see what's causing the surface bubbles underneath, yeah? And then you recognize there's no nouns to be found. There's no thing going on. There's no this or that or yes or no or Bill or Ted. Yeah. Yet all the while it's appearing all that way. Yeah. And then you can appreciate, you have an appreciation of what comes and goes that you wouldn't have when you thought it was always going to be that way. You know what I mean? When you think it's always going to be that way, you want to get out. Yeah. But when you see things coming and going, they lend an intimacy of you've never gone anywhere. Yeah. The coming and going is like a ping that goes to the sonar of you. Yeah. Bing. You're not that. Yeah. Yeah. We don't have the mechanism to recognize what's always here. We have to get it in a strange way, like a pool shot where you want to you got to hit something. You have to hit, the railing to hit the ball. Yes. So you get a sense of what you are by seeing what you're not. That's sort of how it happens. It's sort of like a ping, because when you send out the ping and it doesn't hit anything, nothing's real, it pings back. Yeah. You're the only reality. You can't see what you are. You can't. But there's another. There is an intimation of something. Yeah, that's my feeling about it. So, all right, Clifford, I'm happy you got to share.
Thank you.
Now you can remember how it worked. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can speak again. Yeah.
However, he figured out how to unmute, put a sticky note.
You can give up this little. Yeah, now you can. Yeah.
I don't know. It has its uses.
But now you may have become identified with that, so you want to do this.
Yeah.
Life has moved on.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Clifford.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to raise their hands? Sean had a cockatiel on his shoulder. Oh no, this is the poster.
More. Hi guys. Hey Paul. Nice to see you, man. Nice to see everybody. Thanks, Michael. So there's a lot of shit that I just don't care about anymore. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's just a lot of shit I don't care about. But right, the mind tries to pull me in. The mind pulls my attention and says, it can become nihilistic at times, right? Which is relatively uncomfortable. It's like, fuck, if there's no me, if there really is no me, right? And like, what am I even doing? What am I doing here then? Equally true. If there's some kind of something going on with my girlfriend, you know, like I still suffer after years of, drug and alcohol abuse. I've been sober almost 7 years, but I did some damage, you know, so there's some paranoia and some abandonment and all that shit that, all that shit that we come packaged with when we show up. I know this isn't the 12-step, but I come packaged with a lot of shit that gets unraveled in time. I see it over a period of time. It gets unraveled by itself. But I can get caught up in it real easy. So, I mean, I don't even know if I have a question, really. I think my attention can still get grabbed, and I just get racked with self to the point where it's like, fuck this, it's not that I want to drink, because that's not the answer anymore. And that problem's been removed anyway, which is, and that's page 85. It's one of my favorite pages. But nevertheless, I get pretty self-loathing, self-hating, and feel really just fucking worthless. And then
if that feels as real can be, then the aspect of service is quite helpful.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
See, in this dreaming, the only place you need a divine proctologist is in the dreaming. Yeah. So it can be very helpful. So get them on your phone, have that number, and say, come on. They make house calls. They'll come right over and pull you out of yourself. Yeah,
she did, in fact. Yeah.
What?
Doreen, she's on.
Don't see. This is what happens. The head, let's say, gets dominant, and then it wants to use non-duality as a way of getting out of what it feels responsible for.
Yes. Yeah? Yes.
Don't just go with, just do Just call someone else up who needs help, or take a walk or something, and send that crazy dog around the corner for a half an hour. By the time you get back home, it will be gone.
That's true. That does work. Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, and the point is, it isn't you that goes up the ass of self.
Right.
Yeah?
This I did learn from you. Yeah, that's right. It feels like me though.
You don't have to. So if you know, if it isn't me that goes up the ass of self, I'm not gonna, be worried about my pride. I'm just gonna fucking ask for help. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not me up there, so just pull it out. You know? Yeah. So
Yeah.
use there's certain time, in time, and then there's the timeless context. In time, the action figure can be the fucking star. Yeah. It has its time on the stage. And if you try to rush it off before it does what it needs to do, it's just going to persist. So you just fucking learn how to deal with it when it gets unruly. Yes?
Yeah.
It's not you. You don't have to say it's not you. Just do what you need to do to chill it out. And when the bloodhounds come by, they won't smell you, and they'll just go running after it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
And then come here, you hear this idea, and like Ramana Maharshi and some of these people, they would say, listen, don't try to save the world, save yourself. And then that will be the greatest way for you to be of service to the world. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
He's not the only one who would say it. People, historical action figures I have respect for, they would basically say it, just pay attention to the small stage and it's going to affect the larger stage. Yeah. So
right.
You've got the idea of what you are and what you're not. And then when what you're not is dominant, you have skillful means to get out of that fucking character. And then after a while, you'll see you never were in the character. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I got that. The mind likes to say though, but part of this, you're supposed to be looking at this, like these are some issues I need to address.
Oh, maybe you need to. Yes. Yes.
All right.
But what I do, if you come to the 12-step meetings, the beautiful thing that we have in the 12-step is it's based on surrender. You're not going to be that which is going to change anything. You're going to submit to be changed. Yeah. You're going to be placed in a position of neutrality. You don't fucking arrive there. You're placed there. Yeah. So there's a sense of surrender, recognizing the failedness of the system we're relying on. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
That admittance of failure and the surrender that comes from it allows things to come through you and do for you what you can't do for yourself. And when you're walking around as Sean and some of that old shit shows up, bring it to step 6 and 7.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, just do it. Do it. And it'll become like putting your garbage out on the street. You're not going to wait, look in the window all night to see if the garbage man comes. You have insurance because it's come every Wednesday for years. All you got to do is put the shit out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
How you put the shit out is when you see it. Hey, I'm entirely ready to have this be reconfigured, and I ask that power to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I like thank you for that. I like what you said earlier at the very beginning too about conceptualizing what it is we are. That stands in the way. I've seen that before. I've seen it many times. I'm trying to conceptualize what it is I think I am and what I'm looking at. It's an obstacle. Most
definitely, because it's sort of like going to the mental police station and have the police artist draw a drawing of whatever. Yeah?
Right.
It can only draw it as it sees it, which is as a fucking thing.
Yeah. Right. It tries though. It tries.
Yeah, but you're not that. Yeah.
Right.
That's the beauty
Right.
of this. Let's put to rest trying to understand what you are. It's indescribable. It's incomprehensible. It's not understandable. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know what? That's perfectly great news because we are it. If we were something else, that would be a bummer. Shit. The way I can know that is to understand it. It's ununderstandable. It's indescribable. But the fact is, we are it. That's the beauty of it.
Right.
Who wants a description? I mean, do I want someone to describe what Paul looks like? I know what Paul looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, see you, man.
Yeah.
Anyone else, Mike? Nick?
Any other hands?
Hi, Senna. Hi, Paul.
Yeah,
Hi, guys.
Hi.
I wanted to say something about that because I'm in the program too, and I've been listening to you for a while. And I feel like I just realized I have to do this work. And I think you've said that too. If you feel like you have to do this work, then you should do it, which I think this is like the 10 and the 11th step. And as I'm doing it, I've been doing it now for a couple of months religiously, like my first year of sobriety. And I feel like I'm getting it, like I'm getting to see the self or the selfing, like I can catch myself more with doing it. It just kind of occurred to me that that's what I'm doing when I do this work. I mean, working these steps. And I wanted to just ask you what you think. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. It's working for me. But I just feel
That's
like
right, honey. If it's working for you, it doesn't matter.
yeah. But I like how I can get to see the self and kind of, I've been feeling a lot of like it's not working. A lot of depression and sadness. So I wanted to share that too with Sean because he's, you know, he's in the program too. So 10 and 11 has been helping me. Thank you.
Thank you, honey. Yeah. I think let's say goodnight, Mike. Eh?
You can call me honey.
Okay.
Nick and Mike.
Thank you, Paul.
Nice to see you, Nick. Robert, thank you for the share.
Thanks, Paul.
John K. Nice to see you, John. Yeah. Fritz, always a pleasure. Clifford, don't abuse that voice. Yes. Sanda, as always, nice to see you there. Kenneth, thank you for the donations. Mary, pleasure. Nice to see you, Mary, tonight. Yes?
You too, Paul.
Yeah. We got Vlad, my main man from Siberia. Matthew, a pleasure from the past. Matthew, yeah. Doreen, we got Yariv, we got Roger. Nice to see you, Roger, there. Sean, I know you're not going to behave yourself, but take care of yourself. Johannes, always. Chris, you always got very interesting lighting. I don't know what's going on there. We got Art. He just woke up. Take it easy, Art. Remember, you're a lifetime member of Zen Bitch Slap. You don't have to know you're a lifetime member. You are a lifetime member. There's nothing you can do that can excommunicate you from Zen Bitch Slap.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah. We got Brahmi. Always. See? The lens works. The screen. Very good. Joyce, as always. I don't know where you are, Joyce. Are you in a boat now? No.
Same boat. I'm in the same boat.
Oh, the same. You're in the same boat.
I never said that before. Thank you.
Keith, nice to see you, Keith. Yeah. You're in the same boat, but you gotta. Mark, always a pleasure. Thanks so much, Mark. I'm spending everything very unwisely. Susanna, my dear old friend. Yes, looking as young as ever. Johnny from Novato. Give me a call, Johnny from Novato. Joe from the Bronx. Mike. We got Amelia. Amelia's cooking up a storm. There she is. Keith. Again, Keith's moved pages. We got Thomas T, Jack G, Mike Savani. Let's go. All right. Hey, thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Paul.
Right on, Paul. Thank you.
Everybody. You don't
Thanks,
know
Paul.
how much
Thank you, Paul.
fondness I have for
Thank you.
this
Bye.
program. You know that? I have a lot of fondness for everyone there. Yeah.
Same with us for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Ditto.
It's like a little love fest. All right. And the meeting's going to stay open, Mike? You're going to keep the room open?
Yep.
All right.
Good
Hey,
night.
Art, come to the meeting after the meeting if you like, Art.
I'm here.
Thanks. I'll see you Saturday, and some people tomorrow, the recovery one Saturday. And I think I'm going to be doing dare I say it, a Zoom retreat in January for another group. So we'll put up the information down the road. They wanted me to do 4 talks each day. I've got them down to 3 talks each day.
No question.
I won't know what to say after the first talk. It'll be a long coffee break. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll keep
Thank you, Paul.
post that stuff up when we get the information. Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.